Hey traders, Gates with Spartan Trades here. Today we're breaking down a $1,841 gain on ticker PTON. 2793 is my account number. I'm trading the weekly options call contracts. I am showing you this to verify my profits. These are real profits. This is not a paper trading account. All right, that was posted in my Discord server today at 7:30 a.m. So now that we've verified the profits, let's get into the trade. I'm on the daily chart time frame for ticker PTON, as you can see there. It's always important, guys, to start your analysis on the daily chart time frame. I'm going to talk about three things here that you should do when you're conducting technical analysis to find a good ticker that's worth trading. The first thing that you should do is start that analysis on the higher time frame chart. So either the daily or the weekly or the 4-hour, whichever you prefer. I like the daily chart a lot. What this allows you to do is see the major areas of support and resistance. So you get to see the overwhelming points that are more significant than maybe something that you would find on the 1-hour time frame or the 5-minute time frame or the 15-minute time frame, for instance. Okay, so just looking at this chart right here, I see PTON is pushed up and met a some point of resistance here at the high. That's going to be at 140, and is pulled back to this 21 EMA and started to consolidate. That's that orange line right there. So if we just use the whole number, the nearest whole number that's being validated as a support, that's going to be the 120 mark. Okay, so we're going to draw a trend line right there at 120 and leave that there for now. The second thing that you should do and always be mindful of when doing your technical analysis is to look at the overall market. Where is the overall market trading, and is it significant to the stock that you're trading? All right, so we're going to look at /ES. You see a nice big red day there. A lot of this sell-off here actually occurred. So if we go to the 5-minute chart time frame, you see a lot of this sell-off occurred a little bit yesterday after hours, and then a lot of it happened this morning, pre-market. Okay, so we had a lot of tickers that, if we look at Apple, for instance, kind of followed that same trend where it sold off this morning. Microsoft, same deal. It actually had earnings, so I guess we won't count that one. Right, so let's look at Facebook. Right, same deal where it kind of sold off overnight. Now let's look at PTON. Right, what is it doing after hours in pre-market? It's not selling off like a lot of these other tickers. It was actually showing some relative strength and pushing up. Just before market open, I have to zoom in here, you see that it had this big green candle right here push up. So while the overall market's coming down, PTON is still holding this 120 level of support that we've identified on the daily. It's still holding that as a support pre-market, and it's in fact pushing up against the overall market. So seeing that, I had a lot of confidence going into this trade with full position size, or actually sizing up, rather than the past couple of days where the market hasn't been so hot. We haven't seen our A+ setups that we normally see. The market's not really showing us its hands. We've had days where we've just chopped up and down within a range. Not a lot of movement, not a lot of follow through on breakouts. So I've been sized down for the past probably about a week and a half. Today I sized in with normal position sizing. Actually, more than normal position sizing, I sized up on this trade because I liked what it was doing. So if we go back to the daily chart, I want to show you a setup on ticker NEO from yesterday. All right, let's delete these lines here and you'll see what I'm talking about. So NEO broke out of a range, pushed up, and then pulled back. So it kind of started to form like a bull flag pattern here. And then it had this massive green day yesterday where it broke out of the bull flag and continued up. Now let's look at PTON and see, can we identify something similar? Yes, right? Well, it broke out of a pattern here, pushed up, pulled back, and has now started to consolidate. The third thing I want to talk about that you should notice when you're doing technical analysis is that consolidation is your first step to a trend change or a continuation. Right, so consolidation is your first step to a trend change or a continuation. I know that sounds a little vague, but when you start to see a stock consolidating after it's coming down, it could do one of two things here. We can identify a range, right, with general support being at 118 and general resistance being at 125, and then we can just simply look for a break of the range to either side. So while this can still go either way, yes, that's true, we have a clear area of support, we have a clear area of resistance, and then so all we need to do is set alerts and plan to play the break. All right, that's the third thing I want to talk about. So going into the 5-minute chart, let's break down this trade. Looked good, pushing up pre-market. We never trade in that first 5 minutes. Okay, this was a pretty wild candle, pulled all the way back down to here, pushed all the way up to almost 125, which was the top side of the range that we identified, remember, just now on the daily chart. And then kind of just decided to chop around right here. So during consolidation phases, right, when I see a stock start to move sideways like this, I move into the 1-minute chart time frame because it allows me to see more details about what is actually happening and what is actually going on. So here's your push up in the morning, right, and 2 red candles to follow, pulled it all the way back. Then the stock started to consolidate. Now what I liked about this is that this consolidation was occurring just over the pre-market and after hours high. So there's your resistance, 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 and now that resistance is being validated as a support. Okay, so we decided to that's going to be around 11 or 121.6. We decided to take an entry off the lower side of this range here, so that's going to be off the support. And we actually had to hold through this for quite a bit, but ultimately we got a pop up here on volume, and that was enough for us to take profits on. So not a long trade. We weren't in this, all day, and we hit our profit target of 20% on this pop move there. We were able to take $1,841 off the trade, and sold into strength and never came back to revisit. Look, and it's so important to take profits when it's offered, because had we just held a few minutes longer, this came right down on us. It eventually kind of recovered, and then by the end of the day, it did recover and made almost a new high right here. But this is the point that we took the trade at, and that's the point I want to talk about. Buying off of support like this can be risky, but isn't it true that anything in trading is risky? Now you may be saying, Gates, how did you know that it was going to bounce right there and not break down? The thing is, you don't know. You don't know if it's going to bounce. We knew that it had support there. We didn't know 100% that it was going to bounce, but if you knew the future in trading, everybody would be rich, right? So you just have to assume the risk at a position or at a spot or point on the chart where you can mitigate your losses. So if we took the entry here and the next candle printed below this support line, for instance, we get a candle like this, just immediately cut the position. If the trade didn't work out, right? Cut the position fast before it gets too far down here, too far away from you, and then look to re-enter the trade later, or maybe not even go back to the trade because it didn't work out and didn't do what you expected it to do. In this case, it worked out. The old resistance, we know old resistance should be validated as new support. That's kind of what we got here. We had relative strength against the overall market. We had a push up in the morning showing relative strength. So that's 3 reasons right there why this trade looked good to take it long off the support. Got the bounce, sold at 20%, took profits, and that was it. That was the magnitude of this trade. Alright guys, I hope that this video has helped you out some. If it has, please let me know in the comment section if you have anything specific that you'd like me to do a video breakdown on, or any tickers that you'd like me to do a breakdown on, and I'd happily do that for you. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in chat.